how do we help eliminate so much condensation? Or tea, whichever you like. Cheers. I did some filming outside earlier. It's cold out there. It's really cold. All they did was make my nose run and my eyes water. I found myself just constantly wiping my eyes and yeah. So I'm going to finish up in here. So talking about condensation today, I've had people ask me, do you have condensation? Do you have a problem with condensation? Yes, I do have condensation. I don't really view it as a problem. I look for mold every once in a while. The other day, I took everything out of this area. I washed my blankets, all the blankets, and the towels, everything. Then I went to the car wash and washed the outside, of course, and then I pulled into where I could vacuum. And it was a nice space, so I took everything out. And the owner was there also, so I felt pretty safe doing it. I didn't think anybody would take any of my bins or anything like that. And I emptied this out, and I vacuumed it. I also pulled back the carpet to see if there was anything under there, and there's no mold going on inside my van. There is one little area, and it's not due to condensation. I mentioned that where the passenger feet would go, if the chair, the passenger seat was there, I park my water in there. It's a really nice space. I can get like 7 gallons of little gallons. I can get gallons of water in there. Every once in a while, something must have kind of sloshed around, or it's real moist. And I noticed that there was kind of a little bit of a mold growing there. So I sprayed it down with some bleach cleaner, and I just walked away. I didn't get in my van for a while. And so every once in a while, I have to check that area, but that's the only area that I could ever find any traces of mold. Now, I did, when I was in Reno, I got inside underneath where the basement is, what I consider the basement, and I checked. There was no mold in there either. So condensation, what is it? Condensation is a process where water vapor turns to liquid. It's the opposite of evaporation, where liquid becomes a water vapor. It evaporates, becoming a vapor. So it's good to know. We all pretty much know what condensation is, but to put it in specific terms, maybe we can better understand how we can combat the condensation. So where do these water vapors come from that we have inside of our rigs that can turn to a liquid? Now, condensation happens 2 ways. Let me refer to my notes. 2 ways. Condensation happens either the air is cooled to its dew point, or it becomes so saturated with water vapor that it can't hold any more water, and then so it becomes a liquid. Now, the reason we get condensation on our windows is because in the winter is because it's cold out there. Our windows are in contact with cold because cold is on the outside. So when air is warm and it suddenly turns cold at a rapid rate, it will turn to liquid. And it can go in reverse too. Like, you have in the summer you have a cold drink, and the water and the air is really warm on the outside. You have a cold drink. When that vapor, and it's creating water, and that vapor, it will land, and you have a cold drink, it will land on that glass. So it's not really reverse, it's the same thing, but that still explains why you have condensation on your glass of iced tea in the summer. or your Coca or your Coke can. Yeah. So how do we eliminate condensation? Well, you really don't. I mean, condensation is going to happen, you know. We also create condensation when we breathe at night. I mean, we're breathing. We're there's liquid in our breath, and the more people you have in a small area, the more condensation it's going to create. So how do we eliminate the excessive amount of condensation that we find on our windows in the morning? One of the biggest ways that we can improve this is to get rid of all the wet rags and towels out of your rig at night. If you're out boondocking, that's easy. Just put it outside. Or anything that's wet, you're going to lay in the sun. You can put up a little clothesline out there or put it on your tent or on your hood, whatever, and let these things dry out so you don't have wet rags or wet things inside of your rig. But if you're in the city, that might not be as easy. But I just came up with a solution. I mean, why not put those things inside of a bag and maybe hang it on the outside of your car at night and maybe tie it to your door handle? Or if you have a minivan, just kind of tie it and put it up on top so that you've got it out of your rig. Because that's going to create, it's going to be evaporating, it's going to create a water vapor inside. And then when that water vapor hits your window, it's going to create all that condensation. So another fact that you can do is to get rid of all the cotton inside of your rig. And I've mentioned this many times before. Go with microfiber. I now have microfiber sheets, pillowcases. Most of my winter clothes are microfiber. In the summer, I like to wear cotton. But the problem with that is that I still have it in my van. Somewhere I've got my summer clothes, and if it's cotton, it's going to be inside my rig. So even I try to make things microfiber and things that can dry really easy. So my towels, my wash rags, no, that's not true. I do have cotton wash rags, and I like that more for my face. So I'm willing to kind of compromise. It's like you have to kind of pick your battles. But most everything except my towels, few of my clothes, not many, and my wash rags, those are made of cotton. Everything else is microfiber. So that's going to be a big help, because cotton is going to, and cotton-like fabrics, they're going to collect and they're going to store up moisture throughout the day, throughout the night, throughout everything. Yeah. Before you go to bed, search out all moisture items. That could be, one big thing might be your garbage. Get rid of your garbage before you go to bed at night. It could have peelings from cooking, things like that. Tissues, anything with moisture in it, get rid of it. Look for it and say, Now, I've got water in here, but like my water, but I've got it kind of tightened up. I don't know. I'm no physics instructor, so I don't know if this actually escapes out of there. But I know if this was a glass just sitting out, it would probably be evaporating. Another way to help your rig from not getting mold is to, when in the morning when you do find the condensation, get rid of it. Get a nice rag. Get one of those blue rags that I get them at Walmart. And what blue rags. They're blue, yellow, sometimes they come in orange. And I buy them at Walmart. It's in the auto department, in where the rags are and the cleaners and the waxes, things like that. And that's what I use. I buy them by the 10-pack, and it's like $5 for 10 rags. And they last me a while, and I wash them in the laundry. But I clean all my windows off. Well, another thing too you can do is to turn on your heater in the morning It will help heat up the air. Now, a sudden rise can throw the water vapor into a liquid, and it will attach to the windows because that's where the cold is. It's outside. When it hits that, it will turn to liquid. After that, you do want to wipe it off. Another thing, too, that you can do is turn on your dehumidifier. So your actual rig, if you're in a minivan, SUV, car, van, I mean, you have those things at your disposal. Just like I say, well, do I have an air conditioner in my rig? Well, yeah, I do. It's my minivan. I can turn on my car and use my air conditioner. Same thing with heater. Same thing with your defroster is like a dehumidifier. I mean, it's going to absorb, and bring, and I don't know how it works. So I'm not even going to go into it. I don't know how it works, but I know it does. I know if I have a lot of moisture and then I turn on the dehumidifier and blow it sky high, and it will take it off pretty easy. Back here, what I do is I wipe them down, and I already showed you that. Basically, when water vapor in the air, in warm air, hits cold air, which is like your windows, it will reach its dew point and it will become a liquid. Now, if you use a Mr. Heater, it's a propane heater. It is a non-vented heater. That's what it's called. There's no venting going on with this heater. And if you've used one, or you do use one, you will notice you're getting double condensation. What it does is I looked this up, for every pound of propane that you use to heat up, you're going to produce a pound of liquid, of water. It's just the way it works. It just exacerbates the issue of vapor turning into liquid, and it will do double duty on your windows. You'll notice that if you use a Mr. Heater. Just start wiping it down. Now, after you do wipe it down and you've got these wet cloths, those blue cloths, put them in a bag and then get them during the day. Make sure that they're out of your van so it doesn't evaporate again into your minivan or whatever you use for your rig. So get them out. What I do is I put them on my dashboard, or if I'm boondocking, I put them outside. Or if I'm parked at a park, I'm going to be here all day, I just leave maybe a little sticky note that, they're up there, and put a little note up there. It's good to have those little sticky Post-its, and maybe I put it up on my roof, and so it will dry out. That way, at night, I'm not dealing, especially in the winter, it's not going to dry as fast inside. And that way, you don't have wet rags inside of your rig at night. When you're using a propane Mr. Heater, you want to vent your window. That is one way that you can create less condensation. You're going to vent because it is a non-vented heater, so you can go ahead and just do a little venting with that. Now, here, another way that you can bring down some of the condensation at night is maybe even vent your window open a little bit, and that will help escape some of the water vapor going out. And when it goes out, it will go outside. So there's one way that you can bring down the amount of condensation. Now, two other ways that you can improve the amount of condensation inside your rig is, one, to install an extractor van. And a lot of people do. Even in a minivan, they'll hire somebody to cut the hole and install a fan. And then what they do is they have like the little electrical system, or you may even use your jackery, but you have the wiring. Somebody could help you with that. That's one way. Another one is to use a dehumidifier. Now, I went on Amazon and I really didn't find that many, but I really didn't look that long either. One that looked maybe promising was called EvaDry. Maybe some of you have used them, and leave in comments if you know of any dehumidifiers that work. What I would be looking for is a USB one. Now, I could do electric, but it would just drain my jackery, just something fierce. So I probably wouldn't want to do that. But I will leave the link for EvaDry, but I haven't reviewed it, and so I'm not going to totally recommend it, but I'll leave the link so that you can at least take a look at it. It does take a plug-in when it becomes saturated with water, and what it'll do is when you plug it in, it will dry it out. I did look at some of the reviews and they said, wow, it gets really hot, and they felt it was kind of dangerous. But the other half of the people thought it was the best thing since white bread or something like that. So for the fix for the long term is you would need to get, if you're going to be in the winter and you want to have a heater going, for the long term, you would want to install somewhere a vented heater. Because what I read, and this is for homes, they weren't especially addressing nomad life, but for homes, because some homes actually have condensation problems. They have like leaky homes, and maybe it's an older house, things like that, where moisture can get in and create a lot of water vapor. Well, one of the solutions is to keep your home, and these are our homes, if possible, keep your home at a low level heat constant, and it will eliminate any fast cold hot that splashes condensation onto the windows. If you have a large rig, an RV, class A, B, or C, you could have the room to install a vented heater. But that's your best way to go. For the long-term fix for condensation is you need a vented heater, and you need to keep it in the winter, keep it on a low heat temp on a constant. So for us minivanners, SUVers, and most of us vanners and sprinters, we just don't have the space to be installing a vented heater. So we have to do what we can do. And now for the elimination for the short term, to get rid of, how do we get rid of condensation? Well, it's very simple. We get one of those rags and we wipe down whenever we find it. When we wake up, we find it, we wipe it off. And then we wring out our towels outside and we dry them off so they're not bringing wet towels back in. That's what we can do. Look for mold. The only reason I think that I would personally get mold is if I wasn't wiping my windows off and I was just letting it dry naturally. Yeah, it's going to get down in my window, the tracks, and it could start creating mold, which is unhealthy. I have not had a problem, and you've all have asked me if I've had a problem. And so the answer is no, I don't have a problem, but I do have condensation. I just handle it every day as needed, and I wipe it down. So that's it. matter. It changes from a gas to a liquid. Okay, so I'm sure you already know what condensation is. Just a little refresher on that, because sometimes to know why it happens, then we can start solving a problem. Condensation on my eyes. It's cold out. I know another thing too is some people buy, they said you can get it at the Dollar Tree. It's only $1, a big bag of the little crystals, or the little round nodules that will eat up moisture and attract moisture. So some people use that too.